Troy, another big road victory. How do you assess this night, especially the start of the game, when there's been a bunch of games this year where you've started very slow?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the result, I'll talk about that first, and then I'll talk about the match itself. But the result, these guys, to be able to do what they did on Wednesday and then travel again and go and get the result that we just got, I mean, the players and the staff deserve all the credit. And I look at this year, Steve, and I think when challenges come, and we've had many this year, you know, it's easy for us to, you could easily use those as excuses and say, okay, now we can pack it up and we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. But our group has never done that. I mean, look at all the things that we've gone through this year. We lose our captain, Steve Birnbaum. He doesn't play all year. Russell Canals, our co-captain, doesn't really play all year, and he's just now coming back into the mix, which we're thankful for, and his health is right. 7 matches we play, and we're down a man. You know, that's our own doing, but still, all the times that we take the lead and then we don't see it out for 3 points, it's just the mental endurance that these guys have displayed to be in the position that we're in now at the end of the year. You learn so much about yourself. You learn so much about your players and your staff, and I'm again really proud of the group for going for the match tonight, and that goes to the part of how we started. They wanted to be aggressive. The group wanted to act rather than react. That was a big message from the players, because even the other night they felt like we were a little bit too reactive, and we can't do that again, and we certainly did not tonight. So that's a summary of everything.
Now you're up to 8. And it goes into that final game, which you kind of expected all along, right?
That's right.
It goes down to the last game. You have a 2-week break, but the level of confidence of this team right now seems to be at its highest.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, our form right now has been the best it's been all year, and it's at the right time. You know, we have a little bit of time, so I won't turn straight to Charlotte. But you know what my messaging is going to be, and that we can't wait for other results. And I don't think our guys will have any piece of them. You know, a draw probably gets us in, I think. But I can tell you that's not the mentality that we're going to carry. And we'll rest up this week. Aaron, Masa, and Boris all go for international duty. So, you know, we'll use the friendly to make sure that we get guys some minutes coming up next weekend and then get ready for Charlotte because they're in good form as well.
The absence of McVay forced you to adjust, and that brought Pedro into the lineup, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, as a left back and a 4, defense is his top priority. But then, in the 3rd minute, what was your reaction to that strike?
Pedro, I mean, I've said a couple times, he's had some incredible performances this year, but this one I think tops them all. And not just because of the goal. The goal is absolutely incredible. The way he strikes the ball is such a spectacular thing. But from the beginning to the end, he was so good defensively. And between him and Masa sliding into a left center back role in a 4, that's unfamiliar for him. But it you know, those 2 guys stepped up in a big way, as did the rest of the group. I love seeing Christian get another goal and push his tally to hopefully one more match, and he can be the Golden Boot leader as well when we get in the playoffs and we accomplish a couple big things.
Towards the end of the game, obviously New England's pressing and pushing.
Yeah.
The own goal affects momentum and all.
That's right.
What were you seeing from your team down the stretch and then into stoppage?
Yeah, I mean, once the own goal comes, New England had the momentum. You know, they had to go for it clearly. So it was going to be a little bit crazy in the end. But what I loved seeing was everyone sacrificing for one another. I mean, this is a really selfless group. And they put everything they had into making sure that if they could get a foot on something, if they could get a head on something and clear our lines and just not really give up any big chances. And we didn't, you know. I think the pressure was a lot, but we never broke. We kept finding another guy recover, and that almost is something that's going to give us more momentum than the dramatic comeback the other night is how we defended late.
And then we'll take some from Zoom. We'll go to Jason Anderson. Brian, I think that was you calling me. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Troy, thanks for speaking with us. Congrats on another win. I wanted to. You mentioned the aggression you wanted to show from the start of the match. We've talked about this. The 4-2-3-1 has been kind of your let me get some more attack-minded players on the field lineup. How did the group manage to take that aggression on the road and still maintain the right balance for you to make sure that, for the first 65, 70 minutes of this game, it seemed pretty well contained once you got the lead?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. What I would say is we talked quite a bit about the physical side being the third match in a week, and then the second match away from home. But then we also talked about the psychological part, and because Chris McVeigh was out, probably there was a thought process we could imagine from the opponent that we would come in a back three, and so we felt like, okay, we want to really try to be as aggressive as possible from the beginning of the match. And I think that gave us some leverage. And the way that the guys applied themselves, Gabby had another fantastic performance, as did Koo and Jared. They do a lot of work. And Martine and Clicky in the middle were able to really solidify the middle of the field. And we were able to play in the opponent's half for the majority of the first 45 minutes. In the second half, I felt like we were under control for the beginning, but then the own goal changes the momentum in a big way. And so at that point, we needed to adjust and see out the match because New England was on top of us at that stage.
Speaking of that portion of the game, they clearly went to three at the back. It looked maybe it's kind of chaotic, but maybe 3-4-3 at the end. How much of the danger that you were in right at the very end, how much of that is just their desperation and their willingness to go and empty the tank, and how much of that is maybe on execution for DC or perhaps just fatigue?
Yeah, I think it was fatigue. One credit to New England, they made a big decision to go with three in the back, and then those guys are all excellent on set pieces. Obviously, Tim Parker scores so many goals when he's in those moments, so that was probably part of the thought process as well. But they had to put another couple of numbers higher up the field, and for us, you could see the guys were, they were completely gassed, but they didn't stop running. They didn't stop fighting for one another. And like I told Steve, that's something that gives you more confidence than you can imagine when you put everything on the line and you see out a result like that.
Appreciate it, Troy. Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Jose Umana.
Hey, Troy. Thank you for speaking with us. Just wanted to get your feedback on the team's performances on the road, 6 wins on the road. How have you felt that they've managed getting these results on the road, and how important will it be to translate that kind of attitude and level of performance coming into this final match at home?
Yeah, I think we have to have the same mentality at home, and we've seen it in glimpses at home, but again, I think it's probably many times in a reactive state. And our form on the road, I think, speaks to the ability of the guys. They're capable of going to any place and getting a result, but at home, we need to feel the energy of our fans. We need to provide them with a result that we haven't done in a long time, really, at home. The last home win we had was against Santos Laguna, and that's in Philly. So prior to that, I think it's maybe Seattle, and that's a long time ago. So we've had some draws at home that were good performances, but we need 3 points. And I appreciate our away form, and that's something that if we get into the playoffs, we're going to have. But in order to get in the playoffs, we need to have that same type of form at home and give our fans what they deserve.